Hey everybody! Welcome to another episode of Non-Scripted Ramblings, Itchy Nose. Thank you for joining me again on the road / countdown to Infinity War. It's getting closer and closer each movie we watch. Wow, and today I'm so excited because we finally get to talk about Thor. So Thor is my favorite Avenger, hands down. I'll just show you my t-shirt here. Thor and Loki fighting. It's actually the first Marvel t-shirt I ever bought. After I saw The Dark World, when my obsession kind of went into overdrive after that movie. Don't know why it was that one, but it was just that one. And I saw this shirt and I was like, I have to have it. It's great. It's really good. It's still my favorite shirt to this day. But yes, Thor, I love him. He's fantastic, and I'm really excited to talk about this movie. So let's get to it. I watched the trailer first off, of course, as I'm doing. Trailer. There's a lot of footage and voiceover in this trailer that is not in the movie. Didn't make it into the movie at all. There's lines delivered differently. Like the line where Odin says you're a vain, greedy, and cruel boy to Thor before he casts him out of Asgard. In the trailer he says it kind of calmly. In the movie he's like, it's like the whole "did you put your name in the goblet of fire?" He just yells it at him, which I think is much more effective. In this, and then in this there's a whole different, different shots of Loki, different shots of Thor. There's a line of Thor, he's saying, "Oh, this is Earth, isn't it?" when he lands via Bifrost after he gets cast out. But that cut that out. There's a lot of different stuff, so it's interesting. But most of it's the same, and it doesn't really tell you too much about the plot of the movie. It just kind of hints at the fish out of water stuff with like the two different worlds colliding, I guess, with Thor, being on Earth and all of that, but it kind of makes it look like there's more stuff on Asgard, when the majority of the movie does take place, I think, on Earth. I guess it does, or it's about 50-50 almost, I don't know, but yeah, that's just the vibe I'm getting. But otherwise, pretty solid trailer. Lots of Phil Coulson in this trailer as well. He opens it doing a bit of VO and a bit of that scene between him and Thor when he's trying to figure him out. Love that scene. It's very, very good. But yes, let's get into the movie discussion then, shall we? Okay, so, look, this is a good film, and I know it's hard now to kind of look back and like appreciate this film for what it is, because so much has happened, so much has changed since this movie came out in terms of the MCU and in terms of Thor and his character, and especially after seeing Ragnarok last year, it's a completely revamping of the character, which was really good. But yeah, this film it still holds up. I think it's still fine. I just have a soft spot for Thor, really. I hate that he's, for so long he was kind of, his films were kind of like, the redheaded stepchildren of the MCU. But I've always adored him. I love mythology. I'm a big mythology fan myself, which is why Thor's always been my favorite Avenger. And I love that side of it, and the integrating of the comic storyline in with the mythology, and how they wrote that, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and all the other writers who worked on Thor over the years, integrate that stuff. It's really clever, and it's wonderful. So Chris Hemsworth, no one else was going to be Thor. He's so good. He's perfectly cast. It's so funny, though, being Australian and seeing him on the screen. I'm used to it now, but just, at the time, this was his big breakout role. He was in Star Trek for the first, 5 minutes because he was Kirk's dad, but this was his role. This was his time to shine, finally, after trying to make it in Hollywood all those years after he left Australia. But, really great performance. And I don't know, you go on a journey with Thor in this movie that is really exciting to watch and really interesting, seeing him go, you fully believe his character arc in this film. I feel like he starts off as the vain, greedy and cruel boy that that is cast from Asgard, and then, going to Earth humbles him severely, and kind of makes him realize, like, the moment, literally the turning point of the movie is the moment where he cannot lift Mjolnir because he is not worthy. Because Odin, you know, as Frigga says to Loki, there's a purpose to everything your father does, and, you know, he obviously cast down the hammer so that Thor would eventually, you know, become worthy and return to Asgard, which he does, which is great. But I love the journey, like how he goes through that, and, you know, becomes the king. Well, not even becomes the king, like becomes more worthy, for lack of a better term, of being a king. He's still not ready, of course, to rule by the end, and, you know, Odin is still kicking around and he's definitely in control, so, you know, Thor has much to learn by the time we're done. But I love when we get the best example, I think, of the new Thor, of the humbled Thor, the wiser Thor, is when him and Jane are talking, and that's the moment I think she fell in love with him. You can see the look on her face. She's, you know, smitten completely, and he's talking about the 9 realms and oh no, we're falling down. Oh no, you just wanted to see my t-shirt again, didn't you? Yeah, talking about all the different realms and all of that. And I love that scene. It's really beautiful. It's really nice and well done. So speaking of Jane, Natalie Portman, hands down my favourite actress of all time. She's incredibly talented and just wonderful to watch on screen. I love her. Jane Foster, of course, Thor's main squeeze in the comics and in the movies now as well, but not anymore. More on that later. She's, you know, I mean, this role isn't, like, her character isn't too deep, and she's quite two-dimensional, I guess. You know, there's not a whole of a lot to her. I mean, but I like the character, even though saying that, you know, she's clearly very passionate, very determined, and very intelligent, very, you know, I just love her spirit. She's got such a spirit to her, and you know, fiery, like, you know, won't take any shit. You know, when S.H.I.E.L.D. come in and try and take they don't try, they succeed, take all of her research and her equipment, you know, she won't have it, and they're a government organization. You know, I love that about her, and I love her fascination with the stars and science and her brain and the way she thinks and speaks, and how, you know, and the effect Thor has on her. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, she only is there for Thor's, you know, purpose or whatever, but I like how she is around him, and, you know, how she responds to him is wonderful. But yeah, Natalie does a great job, as she does in almost all of her, well, not almost, all of her movies, every single one. Never seen her in a bad movie. Go watch Black Swan if you haven't, because she won the Oscar for a reason, let's just say that. Okay, who shall I talk about next? I should talk about Loki, shouldn't I? Because I love Loki. A lot of people do. We all love Loki. He's great. Gotta love those villains. Tom Hiddleston's breakout performance in this movie as well. Yeah, I love him, and I love what he does with this character is just wonderful. I think Loki definitely gets better as we move through the MCU. This is definitely the weakest version of him, I guess. I don't know, but that being said, that's not trying to take him down a peg or anything. He's still fantastic, but I feel like he just gets better and better every time we see him. And Tom Hiddleston's worked very well with, like, you know, building that history and that psychology within him and making him this exceptional, misunderstood villain, you know, that has really great motivations and just has been through some horrific shit, for lack of a better phrase, and just come out the other side not so great, but then, you know, eventually gets a lot better. But in this movie, the scene with him, the fact that Tom Hiddleston in his first big, you know, role can go toe to toe with Anthony Hopkins in a scene is just like how do you? Oh my god, I love that the scene where Odin confronts Loki and then Loki confronts Odin back. Basically, it's just when he figures out he's a frost giant, and then he just says, you took me for a purpose. What was it? Tell me. And the pain and the betrayal and the why did you lie? He's like, you could have told me what I was from the beginning. Oh my god, the heartbreak you see, and it's, the seeds of villainy were already there because of, Loki was always jealous of Thor because of, he's the oldest, he's the heir to the throne. He's going to be king. Loki's not going to be king unless something happens to Thor, which it wouldn't. And then, and then he, doesn't think Thor's fit to be king. He's right. Thor is not. He's not ready to be king. It's not a thing he's ready to do. And Loki sees that. And, and then obviously his feelings are a bit misguided. And then, he lets the frost giants in to stop his coronation. Which, by the way, is the only time we get to see Thor wearing the helmet, which is annoying because the helmet is awesome. I love that they brought it back in Ragnarok, but yeah, he looks great in the helmet, and it sucks that, that's all you get. It's 30 seconds of it. It's terrible. Oh well. But yeah, I love, that scene is just, it gets me, the pain on his face. I just love it. So yeah, once he learns he's a frost giant, everything changes. Loki's not of Asgard. Loki is of Jotunheim. He is not, he's not who he thought he was. He's been lied to his entire life, been told a fiction his entire life, and he's on top of everything he's had to deal with growing up with Thor, and so obviously that's just put him over the edge. He's like, no, screw you guys. I don't care anymore. And then, I love as well, by the end of the film, you see Loki's playing he played his own game like he always does. He plays his own, he's in it for his own glory. And, the fact that he tricked Lao Fei, which is actually his father, his real father, into, coming into Asgard and attempting to kill Odin. And then, Loki came in and killed him to make it look like that he was the good guy, and so they would keep him as king and all this, and all of that. But then he was going to destroy Jotunheim, and in a misguided way, do it for his family and do it for his father, and like he says before he falls into the cosmic abyss. But then he's just not hatred for Thor, but just such. I can't find the right word right now, but I love it, and I just hats off to Tom Hiddleston for his performance. He's so good. I love it. I could watch it again and again. I love him in this movie. It's fantastic. What else shall I mention? Of course, Agent Coulson is in the movie. The post-credits scene from Iron Man 2 is shown as part of the story of the film. Really, really great. Obviously, having him in there, having S.H.I.E.L.D. in there, connecting this, they're starting to connect this larger universe. Now, this is the first time that we've really kind of seen a connection between, apart from Incredible Hulk, the only thing was, Tony Stark obviously rocking up. But, it's now we know S.H.I.E.L.D., okay, this is the same universe, legitimately. The S.H.I.E.L.D. is, here is present. We meet Agent Sitwell for the first time, who is, spoilers, a Hydra agent. Find out that later on. And then, of course, one of the Avengers as well, another one, makes their debut. Sneaky Hawkeye is in the movie for 2 minutes when Thor tries to take Mjolnir back. Well, not take it back, but yeah, he breaks into the S.H.I.E.L.D. base to get Mjolnir so he can go back to Asgard. But he's not worthy. And then, he fights all of the S.H.I.E.L.D. guards in the rain, and it's really awesomely choreographed fight stuff that happens. And then, Hawkeye is, up on a crane kind of thing with his bow and arrow ready to excuse me, take him out if he needs to. And, you know, it's a nice little subtle kind of tease for him. Yeah, really cool. What else shall I mention? The Warriors 3, I love the Warriors 3. They're so good, they're so fun. Jamie Alexander kicks butt as Sif. Ray Stevenson's awesome as Volstagg, he's quite funny. I've forgotten the actor's name who plays Fandral because it's not Zachary Levi, it's the other guy who was in Once Upon a Time, and I apologise for forgetting his name. I know his name. Think I can remember it when I'm filming? No, of course not. I'm not going to even bother to pronounce his name because I know it's. So I'm so sorry. The actor that plays I'm just forgetting names. No. Oh, and there's the shirt again. Hello. Yeah, I've just forgotten names. This is terrible. Okay. Anyway, I love all of the Warriors 3. I would love more of the Warriors 3, but that's not going to happen. Oh, Hogan is the one I couldn't remember. Yes, I love them all. They're all great. Yeah. Oh yeah, Stellan Skarsgård, you know, regular Scandinavian man, Swedish man in there, you know. I like that they cast him to be Erik Selvig. He's a great character. Kind of there for expositional purposes at this point, but still, you know, he's really good. And yeah, Kat Dennings as Darcy. Darcy, she's so funny. She's kind of there for comedic relief, I guess. But, you know, she's talented, she's funny. I think she adds a nice element to the movie. And the fact that she just calls Mjolnir Mjolnir is like the best thing ever. Love it. So what else should I talk about? Stan Lee's cameo. Let's talk about Stan Lee's cameo. Very funny. My favourite one up until that point. Yeah, he's Big Stan in the pickup truck trying to pull out Mjolnir from the rocks. And, you know, obviously because he's not worthy, they're not worthy, he can't lift it out, and then the whole tray falls off the truck. Yeah, really good. Really cool little cameo. It's funny. Gosh, okay, what else? Oh, God, I don't know. What else? Oh, yeah, I love the start of the film when we get to meet young Thor and young Loki, and Odin's telling them the story of the frost giants and the war against them and all of that 1,000 years ago. And then Odin, when he finishes up his story, he says, "A wise king never seeks out war, but must always be ready for it." And if you pay attention, they bring that line back in Thor Ragnarok, which I thought was sweet. Lovely, lovely callback, and such a great way to connect Hela with Thor in the movie, and the whole, you know, she's related to them and everything, and yeah, and Odin raised her the same, and you know, look what happened. You know, I think it's really, really well done. Fantastic stuff. What else? Oh yeah, I love the little line with I think it's Sitwell. It says when the destroyer arrives on Earth, Loki sends the destroyer to kill Thor and the Warriors 3, like to stop them from coming back. And he said, Sitwell says to Coulson, he's like, "Is that one of Stark's?" And then Coulson's like, "I don't know. He doesn't tell me. That guy doesn't tell me anything." And that makes me laugh out loud. I love it. Another little connective tissue added there in the movie. It's very cool. And then at the end of the film, there's a interesting, you know, after Loki's hasn't died. After that's happened, there's a nice scene between Thor and Odin post Thor's growth, and he's, you know, praising Odin for what he did for casting him out and making him learn and change, which is, you know, turned out all right in the end. Just But then he says something about him, you know, he couldn't ask for a better king or a better father. And then I just couldn't help but roll my eyes because I'm like, he's not a great father. Odin is not a great father, but like, give him, I guess he gets props for trying, A for effort. Yeah, it's hard to see that, watch that line and keep a straight face while, like, just sit there and just listen, watch it without laughing or rolling my eyes now, because I'm just like, oh my god. There was a whole nother sister. What? Yeah, quite bad. Anyway, I've rambled on for long enough, so I just want to talk about the post-credit scene first, and then we'll wrap up. There's one post-credit scene right at the end. There's a nice little tease for the Avengers, and it's Selvig in the, I'm gonna say it would have to be the same undisclosed shield base from Avengers. And he's wandering the tunnels looking for Nick Fury, and he finds him, and he makes a joke about, I thought you brought me down here to kill me, ha ha ha. And then, and then they have a conversation, and Nick Fury shows Selvig the Tesseract because he wants his scientific mind to study it, work on it, figure out what it is and what they can do with it, how they can harness the power of the Tesseract. And then, meanwhile, cut to a little reflection in the mirror, well, not mirror, it's like a cabinet next to where Selvig is standing, and then Loki steps in to frame next to Selvig in the reflection only, and he's looking all like undead almost, and just like really creepy, really super creepy. And he just says, you know, well, I guess that's worth a look, with this like evil grin on his face. And then Selvig repeats the same line, and then we realize Loki's in his head already, which I think was kind of their attempt to kind of set Avengers up. But then, like, in Avengers you get Selvig is normal, but then Loki, you know, hits him with the Loki pokey stick, as some people online call it. Hits him with Loki's staff, which has the Mind Stone in it, and lets Loki control whoever he wants with it, essentially. And yeah, so maybe, I don't know, maybe he started to kind of, if Selvig was his way in, and then when Thanos gave him the staff to come get the Tesseract, that maybe that was just the next step. And, you know, that was him getting full control. He probably didn't have total control over him. He was, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But it's a fine little stinger at the end of the film. It's quite enjoyable. But yeah, so I think that's all I have to say about Thor. I've rambled on for nearly 25 minutes. Sorry, I love this movie. I could sit here all day. In words of Captain America, I could do this all day. I literally could. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking through this video with me. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will be all about Captain America, the First Avenger. I am ultra excited to talk about that, because that is a good movie. Okay, all right. Thank you again. I've been a Kendall Richardson, and you've just experienced non-scripted ramblings. Bye-bye.